Okay, guys, we're having to go live with this. We are having to make just a massive live apology right away. Now, y'all know I'm the first person to come out, and whenever I say I got something wrong, and I got this wrong big time here with Sam Darnold. Now, so many people over on Patreon asked me this offseason, and I promise you, I take this to the heart. It legitimately hurts me that I lost out on Dynasty value for y'all. So many people on Patreon asked me, Mason, should we buy low on Sam Darnold? Adam Gase is out of there. Sam Darnold could be traded. And my answer to that was, hey, I believe Sam Darnold in a different universe. I mean, so many of y'all probably got this answer, by the way. But I was saying I believe that Sam Darnold in a different universe could have been a very productive NFL quarterback. But whenever your career tends to get ruined at the NFL level that early on, I mean, just look at Josh Rosen, look at Wayne Haskins. You usually don't see the NFL give these quarterbacks another chance. Yet here we are, Sam Darnold traded to the Carolina Panthers. And this is massive. Sam Darnold is rising exponentially. I did not expect him to have a starting job in 2021. I will say that outright. But now that he will, we can come through and we can completely reevaluate and understand that, hey, Sam Darnold is ridiculously young. I mean, absolutely absurd how young Sam Darnold is. You go through and see that he's only 23, and he was drafted, I believe, in that 2018 NFL draft class. I know that another quarterback that was drafted with him was Baker Mayfield, who was drafted a few picks before. Baker Mayfield already 25. A quarterback that was drafted last offseason that a lot of people want to view as a young cornerstone asset, which he is, over the next decade, Joe Burrow, older than Sam Darnold. Some quarterbacks coming into the NFL this year, in Mac Jones, Justin Fields, they're both already 22. So this gives you a decent understanding of how young Sam Darnold is currently. I mean, he is the same age now than Joe Burrow was when Joe Burrow was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say is, guys, please, I gave you your apology saying that Sam Darnold was not going to be a starting quarterback this upcoming year. Give me an apology saying, Mason, you're right. The Jets are 100% taking a quarterback. They're 100% taking Zach Wilson. This is easy to see, especially after they decided to decline whatever the 49ers offered them for that number 2 overall pick. By then, once you saw that 49ers trade, you understood that the Jets were taking Zach Wilson. That pick was 100% locked in, and now, of course, it's looking that way. And what I want to focus in on is I want to focus in on the return that you actually had the New York Jets seeing for Sam Darnold. Now, I didn't expect anything massive because you see some recent quarterback failures of just say the 2018, the 2019 NFL draft classes in Josh Rosen and Dwayne Haskins. Now, Dwayne Haskins was cut flat out. I understand that he had some off the field stuff going on with COVID that the team didn't like. But then you looked at Josh Rosen, who got traded to the Miami Dolphins. And Josh Rosen, on the other hand, was traded for a second-round pick after only one bad season. To go along with this, we understand that after only 1 year, Josh Rosen was still attached to that rookie contract, where Sam Darnold is not. Sam Darnold is going to be up for a new contract a lot sooner than what you saw with the Josh Rosen trade. So I'm surprised that the Jets were able to get this kind of return for Sam Darnold, and it shows us what the Panthers thought about him. They obviously looked at this rookie draft class and went, you know what, there's no shot that we get one of those top 4 quarterbacks at number 8, so let's just go trade for Darnold before the NFL draft even happens. I'll say this probably isn't a great look for Mac Jones, and I know that seems a little weird, but I would say that if the Panthers were interested in Mac Jones, if they thought that he could have been a quarterback for the future for them, they would have at least waited to see what happened in the NFL draft, at least waited to see if he would have been available at 8. I know a lot of people want to say that's not even a shot, so maybe the Panthers agreed with that, and that's why they made this trade. But let's focus in on the situation Sam Darnold is going to. So Darnold is going to Carolina, where he is playing with the best running back in the NFL in Christian McCaffrey. And usually you don't see running back talent equating to fantasy production for the quarterback on that team. But Christian McCaffrey is a completely different breed. We understand that Christian McCaffrey is the best receiving down running back in the entire NFL. I mean, if you would slide him over to the slot wide receiver, he would automatically be like a top 5 slot wide receiver in the league as well. So you can just call him an overall elite weapon that will 100% help Sam Darnold. And then you also see that he has DJ Moore. And DJ Moore, I know, didn't take the leap a lot of people expected him to last season, but he was playing with Teddy Bridgewater. To go along with that, he had Robbie Anderson and Curtis Samuel all competing with him for targets. And DJ Moore was still extremely impressive if you look at his own age. So now, what we are finding is Sam Darnold is going into a situation that has DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson was fantastic last year, especially stretching the field and creating space underneath for some of the other wide receivers to operate. Christian McCaffrey, and let's not forget, this team still has a top 10 NFL draft pick. This team still is going to be in the range where it's not a guarantee, but they have a shot at one of 3 elite players. I mean, if Kyle Pitts falls to this team, GG. I mean, good luck anybody else in this division. Good luck Tampa Bay. Good luck New Orleans. Good luck those defenses trying to stop an offense that has Matt Rule and Joe Brady calling plays. They seem to be very effective at doing so at the beginning and all the way through last year, to be completely honest. Now that team is adding a competent quarterback, at least a quarterback that we can safely say has some upside based on flashes that he had with the worst head coach in the entire NFL. And if that quarterback has Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and Kyle Pitts, good luck. That's going to be a fantastic offense when you have an offensive coordinator as creative as Joe Brady. And then you throw in the fact that, hey, maybe they don't get Kyle Pitts. Maybe that's just us having a complete pipe dream. What if they get Jamar Chase? What if they go out there and get Devontae Smith? That's still in the range of outcomes. So Sam Darnold is going to a situation where he could not see a bigger head coach and offensive coordinator upgrade than what he had in New York, combined with the fact that he's going from having Jamison Crowder, Denzel Mims, and Brashad Perriman as his main wide receivers to now going over having Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, and possibly a Kyle Pitts, Devontae Smith, or Jamar Chase. There are so many reasons why Sam Darnold is going to be rising through our Dynasty rankings. And real quick, guys, let me ask y'all in the general chat, where would you have Sam Darnold in your own Dynasty rankings? At this point, where are some quarterbacks that you'd be comparing him to? Obviously, he can't touch the tier with guys like Ryan Tannehill that we know have that long-term job security, because that's one thing that we can look at with Sam Darnold and we can say, hey, if this doesn't work out in 2021, the Panthers aren't attached to him for the long term. So you're not looking at an extremely safe asset, because if he disappoints this upcoming season, then in 2022, he may not have a starting job. So let me know what quarterback range y'all are going to be looking at him with. Let me real quick pull up our recent Dynasty ADP that you can find over on Patreon, and let me see some quarterbacks that were going ahead of him, and let's try to identify where we think he's going to jump up to. So just give me 1 second to do this, guys. And in the live chat, let me know where y'all think he should rise. And also, please, while y'all are in the live chat, go down there if you have not already and drop a like on the video. What are you doing by now if you have not dropped a like on the stream? Nobody else is coming out and live streaming as fast as this news is breaking. But anyway, we are pulling up this Dynasty ADP right now that we can find on Patreon. Maybe I can share my screen with y'all real quick if y'all are not on Patreon, so y'all can see this yourself. Okay, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We'll try to figure that out later. But anyway, I can just verbalize where we are seeing Sam Darnold go in these drafts. Okay, so Sam Darnold was going at the end of the 11th round, it looks like. And he was going right ahead of quarterbacks like Jordan Love, Jameis Winston, Mitchell Trubisky, Ben Roethlisberger, Jimmy Garoppolo, Cam Newton, Taysom Hill. Obviously, he's still going to be ahead of all that range. But quarterbacks that were going directly in front of him include Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Tom Brady, Derek Carr. Is he going to be jumping ahead of any of those quarterbacks for you? I think you may have a hard time getting him ahead of quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins, and he definitely can't get to the tier of Baker Mayfield. So he's still going to stay in this tier, but the question is, how far can we move him up? Please, let's see if we have any opinions in the general chat right now. Okay, so Tio Kappa is asking Sam Darnold or Matthew Stafford. Have to go Matthew Stafford 100%. I mean, Matthew Stafford, if you just looked at the recent price acquisition that the Rams had to spend on him, they just spent 2 first-round picks compared to only a second-round pick for Sam Darnold. So we understand that Matthew Stafford has definitely way more team investment and should easily be the starter for the next 2 to 3 seasons regardless. And he still has great weapons. So yeah, we're easily going to end up having Matthew Stafford there. Okay, Tia Kappa also saying Sam Darnold over Baker Mayfield. Man, I can't get behind that. I understand that Sam Darnold definitely has better weapons at this point. But no, Baker Mayfield's still going to have to be there ahead of me. I know that JN is weighing in here, says he would rather have Sam Darnold as well. Am I going to be completely contrarian here? Is it contrarian to say Baker Mayfield over Sam Darnold even after this trade? I figured that would be just consensus. I had no idea people would even be saying that. Casey's saying Derek Carr equals Sam Darnold. Honestly, I would prefer Darnold over Carr easily at this point. Just because, A, a significantly better head coach, B, significantly better weapons, and C, Derek Carr doesn't have that long-term job security either. So I think you go Darnold over Carr in my opinion. Yeah, Tia Kappa weighing in, saying Carr is awful with the bad offensive line and they are rebuilding it right now. Yeah, so I do not think you can have him ahead of that tier. If y'all have any questions regarding this situation, let me try to answer anything. I will talk about DJ Moore real quick. I think DJ Moore does get a bump up with Sam Darnold coming in because Darnold easily has to be an upgrade over Teddy Bridgewater. I think that nobody is going to go through and try to argue that. And obviously, you can call Sam Darnold an upgrade over whoever the Carolina Panthers were rolling out at quarterback in 2019 to go along with that. So DJ Moore getting a bump up. Also, Christian McCaffrey has to get a bump up because overall offensive efficiency is going to be higher. More trips to the red zone, more touchdown opportunity, more overall touches if drives aren't being ended so early. So CMC up, DJ Moore up, Robbie Anderson up to go along with this. I think this helps every single piece in Carolina. I think this hurts Mac Jones and his dynasty value because this is one of the landing spots that you wanted to see him go. You wanted to see him go to Carolina in the top 10, and I think that it's almost impossible to expect that to happen now. So Mac Jones slightly down. Sam Darnold, massive riser up, as well as every Carolina Panthers offensive weapon, just because we can safely say that Darnold is going to be an upgrade over Teddy Bridgewater. Okay, Jordan is saying he would rather have Sam Darnold over Tua Tagovailoa. That is absolutely crazy. You can't say that, especially with how well the Miami Dolphins are building right now. You have to have Tua over Darnold. Okay, Jared asking, how's the Panthers offensive line? The Panthers offensive line definitely is not going to be a concern for us. If you looked last year, they were decent. I haven't tracked their moves too closely this offseason. Definitely something we need to look into. But no, completely fine with their offensive line. What I'm more excited about is Matt Rule and Joe Brady. I mean, it was a very under-the-radar conversation point last season how impressive both Matt Rule and Joe Brady were with subpar quarterback play with Mike Davis as their starting running back. So now that they go up to Sam Darnold, who by no means is an above-average NFL starting quarterback. We cannot say that by now. But I think we can say he's a quarterback with upside. We know that Teddy Bridgewater had none. So that's why we can get excited, even if it's not going to be some fantastic upgrade to a Deshaun Watson. It's still exciting nonetheless because there is a path for upside here. You didn't have that with Teddy Bridgewater. Okay, Brett is asking Jalen Hurts or Sam Darnold. Oh, here's definitely something we need to discuss. You have to go with Jalen Hurts here. Sam Darnold, I want to get excited because he has these weapons. He has the coaching upgrade. But at the end of the day, Sam Darnold doesn't have any rushing upside, so you can't be putting him in the tier with Jalen Hurts because even if Sam Darnold comes out and just averages 25 more passing yards a game, even if he averages half a touchdown more a game, I mean, Jalen Hurts is still going to crush him in fantasy just with Jalen Hurts rushing upside alone. But you can sit here and you can make the argument who's the better real-life NFL quarterback, and I'll hear you out on that. But if we're just talking fantasy points scored and how rushing at the quarterback position with rushing touchdowns as well as rushing yards is a straight-up cheat code, you easily have to have Sam Darnold behind Jalen Hurts. Now, a question that I think gets interesting here. Now, rank these three quarterbacks in the chat for me, guys. Please, everybody spam this. Let me know your opinion because I say this all the time. Your opinion is worth just as much as mine, if not more. I promise y'all that. Okay, rank these three guys. Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, and Daniel Jones. Please rank those three guys for me. Let me know what your thoughts are. All three of those players are quarterbacks that have decent weapons around them, yet at the same time, they don't have any rushing upside. So they're kind of in a similar boat. I guess you could say Kirk Cousins has the better long-term track record, but still, it's not like Kirk Cousins has a super guaranteed contract 2 to 3 years down the road. So let me know those three rankings for y'all. Okay, so let's go through and okay, Tia Kappa is saying Sam Darnold only because the wide receivers in Indy are ass. Tia Kappa is saying breaking Panthers will exercise the 5th-year option. I didn't even know that they had the capability of doing so after before making that trade. Let me look that up. Okay, so let's just pull up Sam Darnold real quick. This is absolutely crazy. If you're a Jets fan in the chat right now, also How are you feeling about this? Okay, so here's a quick tweet that's just funny to look at. Jets trade away Sam Darnold. 49ers trade 3 first-round picks for the number 3 pick. Eagles trade back in the draft. Carson Wentz traded to the Colts. Rams trade Goff to the Lions for Stafford. Yeah, honestly, before the NFL draft has happened, this has probably been the craziest stretch that we've had from Super Bowl to NFL draft of any NFL offseason, at least any recent NFL offseason. I'd say dating back to 2014 when I really started diving into Dynasty that I can remember. Okay, so people are consensus that Wentz is going to be the first ranked quarterback out of Wentz, Darnold, and then Danny. Okay, no, Jan likes Daniel Jones, Carson Wentz, then Sam Darnold. Okay, but it looks like y'all are moving those rankings around, so it looks like that's a fair tier to say that Sam Darnold is currently ranked in. But it looks like consensus does have Carson Wentz over Sam Darnold, which is intriguing because they weren't too far apart in our recent Dynasty ADP that you could find on Patreon. And also, guys, I want to remind everyone, the ADP on Patreon is completely free. I know like my rankings and stuff there are behind a paywall, and it's behind a paywall if you want to get into a Dynasty League with us. But no, the ADP is completely free. Literally, we don't have a website or anything, so it's just easiest for me to put it on Patreon as a post for anybody to see. Okay, but let's ask this. Okay, guys, Tom Brady, Derek Carr, Sam Darnold. Rank those 3 quarterbacks for us. Just want to get a feel out right now in the Dynasty community with how y'all are evaluating this trade. And also, I'm going to have some DJ Moore questions that I want to be asking after this because, like I said, I think this helps DJ Moore. No, it's not a Deshaun Watson type upgrade. You're not having an elite quarterback coming in, but at the very least, you're having a quarterback come in with upside. So please, guys, let me know what y'all are ranking between Sam Darnold, Tom Brady, and Derek Carr. Okay, so Jared asking, what is Teddy Bridgewater's value now? Teddy Bridgewater's value now is, like, have you ever had a bag of Sun Chips and then, like, you eat half the Sun Chips and then you go, okay, this is too cheddary, I don't want this anymore, and then you ask your friend, be like, hey, do you want the rest of these? And then your friend's like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. That's about what Teddy Bridgewater is worth. Like, next time you're halfway through your bag of chips, and if you want to give them to your friend, and if he has Teddy Bridgewater on his Dynasty team, be like, hey, man, I'll give you half of these Sun Chips for Teddy Bridgewater, and maybe that's a fair trade. Okay, so people are going Brady, Carr, Darnold, Brady, Carr, Darnold, Darnold, Brady, Carr, Brady, Darnold, Carr. So it looks like this is a fair range that you could be looking with these quarterbacks. It looks like the majority of the people in the chat have some random order of Tom Brady, Derek Carr, and Sam Darnold. So it looks like Sam Darnold, what's probably going to happen, he's in the 11th round right now of our recent Dynasty ADP. It looks like he's probably going to jump up to the 9th, 8th round, which is a decent profit that you've had if you drafted him back at the end of the draft, which is why now that we have 100 people in the live stream, I want to just echo my sentiment at the very beginning of the stream if y'all missed it. I am sorry. I know a lot of people at the beginning of the offseason asked me what I thought about Sam Darnold on Patreon, and I went, hey, in a parallel universe, Sam Darnold could have been a fantastic NFL quarterback, but Adam Gase ruined his career. He's not going to get another shot. You rarely ever see quarterbacks that fail early on, like a Josh Rosen, a Dwayne Haskins, in today's age of the NFL, get a significant chance on another team. So I advise people to not try to quote-unquote buy low on Sam Darnold. I was telling people I preferred a quarterback that was going a little bit later in our ADP, like a Jordan Love over Sam Darnold, and I was wrong. We can admit that. I apologize for that. And now we can try to reevaluate Sam Darnold with where he is currently valued now that we know that he is indeed going to be a starting quarterback in 2021. Okay, so let's go through and okay, Michael is saying a bag of Sun Chips over Tom Brady, over Sam Darnold, over Derek Carr. I think that's probably close to the appropriate ranking. I think you want the bag of Sun Chips in between Brady and Darnold. But yeah, something in that range. Justin is asking, what do you think they'll do with the first-round pick they received, trade or keep? Carolina didn't receive a first-round pick in this trade, unless I'm mistaken. I believe they received a second-round pick next year, a fourth-round pick next year, and a sixth-round pick this year. But maybe you're asking about the top 10 pick that they have in this year's draft. I think that it's very simple. Now that they lose Curtis Samuel, I think they're going to be looking to add an offensive skill positional player here. I mean, if Kyle Pitts, for whatever reason, falls to him, which I doubt happens. I would be surprised if the Miami Dolphins decide to go with Ja'Marr Chase over Kyle Pitts at that 6th overall pick. And also the Cincinnati Bengals are a team that could go there at the 5th. And I guess actually there's a chance Kyle Pitts makes it to the Carolina Panthers, because if I'm remembering correctly off the top of my head, am I remembering wrong that the Detroit Lions have the 7th overall pick? Which, if that's the case, I mean, I would be surprised if the Lions decided to take Pitts while having TJ Hawkinson on their rookie contract. So maybe there's a chance that Kyle Pitts legitimately makes it to 8 to the Carolina Panthers. And if that happens, oh my gosh, then Sam Darnold safely has to be ahead of Jared Goff, Tom Brady, Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, Carson Wentz. If Sam Darnold is indeed throwing to Kyle Pitts, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey, with Joe Brady and Matt Rule calling plays, I think that he has to jump over all those quarterbacks. Jonah saying, I'd rather have Pitts than Waddle. Yeah, I think Pitts is definitely going to be the selection for Carolina if he makes it there at 8. If not, I think you could see them go with the wide receiver. I think you could see them end up going with Waddle for some speed, go with Ja'Marr Chase if for whatever reason he makes it there, which I doubt happens. I would be willing to bet that he goes to either the Bengals, the Dolphins, or the Detroit Lions. I'd be surprised if he makes it out of that range. So I think they're going to be going Pitts, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, or a defensive side of the ball player. Okay, so so Caesar says we're correct. The Lions are at 7. Okay, thank God. Usually I can remember that stuff off the top of my head. But I think we kind of covered everything here. I guess we can ask some questions about DJ Moore. Let's go through and let's try to figure out where y'all are valuing DJ Moore right now compared to where he was going in our latest ADP. Okay, so DJ Moore was going at the beginning of, in the middle of the 5th round. He was going right before Allen Robinson, Ja'Marr Chase, Chris Godwin, and Calvin Ridley. So please, guys, I know that nobody's going to be jumping him up ahead of the CeeDee Lamb player that's going right before those players. Let me know, if any, what wide receivers would you rank DJ Moore ahead of in Dynasty out of Allen Robinson, Ja'Marr Chase, Chris Godwin, and Calvin Ridley? Now, personally, based on what we've seen with DJ Moore already at the NFL level and having a historic age-adjusted production, I think I would safely have him ahead of both Allen Robinson and Ja'Marr Chase. And yes, Ja'Marr Chase is an elite level prospect. We are not saying that. I mean, we're not saying he isn't. But we understand that with hit rates on these wide receivers, you're looking at a DJ Moore who's already had back-to-back 1,200 total yard seasons in the NFL, and he's, I believe, only 23. Let me pull this up. I know DJ Moore came into the NFL and was drafted at 20 years old. So if my math is correct, yes, DJ Moore still only 23, about to turn 24. I think you have to have him ahead of Ja'Marr Chase and Allen Robinson. Once you get to the Chris Godwin and the Calvin Ridley, who are still young and productive on their own right, there you can make the conversation. I personally would probably rather have DJ Moore over both those guys now that Sam Darnold is coming in. But let me know what y'all are thinking here. Okay. So let's go through, and it looks like, so Casey is saying if the Panthers draft Pitts, Darnold is like the 15th quarterback in Dynasty. So Mike is saying Chase over Devontae Smith, over Kyle Pitts, over Jalen Waddle. I think that's something close to what you would see in Dynasty. But guys, I want to remind everyone, the tight end position is extremely valuable in the NFL. I mean, not only are you getting an offensive lineman, but you're also getting that elite wide receiver in Kyle Pitts. So I think if you're an NFL team, you easily prioritize Kyle Pitts over Devontae Smith. And that's coming from someone who loves Devontae Smith. Okay, so Caesar said he heard the Falcons and the Lions are willing to trade down. Okay, that really doesn't affect anything here. Okay, so Peter is saying Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, then he would have Chris Godwin, Ja'Marr Chase, Allen Robinson. I think I probably agree with that, man. Yeah, we can say Matt Ryan is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold still at this point. Okay, Tia Kappa, it says Juju Smith-Schuster over DJ Moore, flashbacks for Mason. Guys, let's be real here. Juju's not even in this range. Juju is a top 5 Dynasty wide receiver. I would have him right up there in the ADP between Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley, so we don't need to discuss my Juju love out here right now. Okay, Alex is saying, I think DJ Moore takes a hit to his value. Darnold is worse than Bridgewater. Man, there's a 0% chance Darnold is worse than Bridgewater. I can't get behind that at all, my man. Okay. Okay, so Deadpool's coming in with a donation. Thank you so much, my dude. And you're saying I traded Kirk Cousins and Chase Claypool for Trevor Lawrence in one of my Superflex leagues. Man, that is absolutely disgusting. Man, please shoot me a DM on Patreon. I know we talk on there a lot, or you can shoot me a DM on Discord, wherever you want. Let me know if that was a paid league. Let me know if that was just a free league that you were doing for practice. Or let me know if someone is actually putting up money and willing to trade you Trevor Lawrence for Kirk Cousins and Chase Claypool, because you absolutely destroyed that in a Superflex league. But I think that should be it for this video, guys. I really want to appreciate everyone coming out to the live stream. And if you have not already, go down there, drop a like, guys. I mean, we went live right away for this. I am supposed to be in a computer science research class right now. And I said, you know what? Sam Darnold, more important. We'll tell them that I had some family issues or whatever it will be. But please go down there, drop a like, and yeah, that should be it. I will see y'all with the video tomorrow.